We've made it to day 5 of DEPHEMEREMBER. Isn't that unbelievable? And I'm so happy to see your posts on social media. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined in, whether you are on social media or not. I just hope you're having fun with our prompts. So let's get right to it. So we are on day 5. This is our paper bag for today with a beautiful dragonfly and butterfly. Today's animal freebie is the bumblebee. She's so cute. And let's check the snack. I'm a bit worried about this one. It's from the UK. They're called Millions and they look very strange. This is definitely not what I had in mind for breakfast. And it's also something I would never pick for a snack. So let's see how this goes. So this is what they look like. Very strange little things. So I'm just going to try one. They're chewy. Okay, that's a game changer. Chewy and sweet. Really good for the teeth, I can already tell. I've never had a snack like this before. Tastes like orange. I just need to read the packaging. It says, the tiny, tasty, chewy sweets. It's killing my teeth. And they get sour when you chew. This is, taste-wise and chewy-wise, it's definitely a nice surprise. I don't think I would buy it again though, because I think this is really a nightmare for the teeth. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. See you at my craft desk. I have to admit, I've eaten a couple more. They are certainly growing on me. It says natural color, contains real fruit juice. Let me show you again how these look. Not that I want to promote these kind of snacks, but I'm sure you're curious. So today's prompt is number or sentiment and a ticket. Love both of those. So I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of fun again today. So this time I want to be a little smarter about this. And first pick the page I'm going to work on so that I know what size I need to go with. Because if I keep making things and then they don't fit into anything, then this is going to get so bulky before I know it. So I want to avoid that. This makes me so happy every time I see this. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. Oh, Luise is so cute. She hates being cute, but she is cute. I cannot help it. Sorry, Luise. So there's a page here. I want to put the tickets in. Yeah, I stuck the turtle in from yesterday, which is this one here. So I have this beautiful tuck spot made by Luise with gold splatters. Yay! So I want my tickets to go into this tuck spot. So I want to make them in a size that will work here. And I want to make bigger tickets. I think big tickets are really fun. This is obviously the perfect opportunity to use up some of your paper scraps. So I want to use some cardstock or something that has a little bit of body to it. I don't want to just use copy paper because otherwise I will have really flimsy tickets. So let's see what I have. Of course, the smaller your tickets are, the easier it is to use up your small scraps, but I really want bigger tickets. So let's see. Ooh, I have something here. These look perfect. Yeah. So let's use these. So let's stick one in here. I think actually the width is perfect as it is. So now we just have to figure out how tall we want them to be. Let's go all the way to the top like that. So I'll cut both of these strips down to that height. By the way, if you want more ideas on how you can make your own fun tickets, please check out my video from last year's DEPHEMEREMBER. We also had tickets as a prompt and I made a lot of tickets in that video. So you can find that in the description box below. So of course the fun thing about having tickets is, in my opinion, that you usually have a strip where you can just tear off a single ticket. So you have this perforated line. There are several ways you can get that perforated line. So I'm going to make each of these strips into 2 tickets, but I'm going to keep them connected. I just want the look. In both cases, I need to know where the middle is so I can make my perforations there. So let's just take a ruler and figure out where that middle is. Okay, so now that I have that, I can make my perforations. So I want to show you 3 methods. The first one involves this tool. I don't know what it's called. I received this in a Happy Mail. It's super cool. So I don't know where to find this, unfortunately, but maybe you have something and you don't know what to do with it. So then I'm going to take a piece of packaging, like a styrofoam piece, and then I'll lay it over. Let's say my line was here. And then probably even helpful to have a ruler here. And then you just take it and you roll it along your paper. And you have to push. And that way you get a perforation. Of course, you would erase your pencil line. So that's one option. I didn't do it very well. So you see these here are not punched as well as these. So you would have to go over it a few times for the holes to be approximately the same. The next method is one everybody can do. So I'm going to use my ticket. I'm going to take my ruler, place it along my line or just a little bit to the left of it. And then I'm going to take an awl. If you don't have an awl, you can take any kind of pointed tool you have or even just a big needle. And all you do is by hand, you go along your pencil line. And by having the ruler, that will ensure that you will be in a straight line. Even though you have your pencil line, it's still not as easy to be accurate. And doing this by hand really requires you to pay attention for the holes to line up and to punch them the same distance from each other. Otherwise, it's going to look very wonky. It's very therapeutic to do this. I think I should have put mine closer together. So that's not so bad. And then the third method is using your sewing machine. So you're going to take the thread out of your sewing machine and just run a straight stitch along this line to get the holes. And the advantage of that is, of course, that you will get extremely evenly spaced holes. But the downside of that method is that if you have a needle like mine in your sewing machine, the holes will be very small. I love how evenly spaced they are, but they're just too small. So what I'm going to do is to poke through these holes again. And this way I have evenly spaced holes that are big enough. So that is my preferred method, although this one that I just did by hand is totally fine as well. The next thing a ticket needs is these punched out corners so that it looks more like a real ticket. Either you have a small circle punch, and if you don't, you use something, for example, like a glue stick, and you put it to your corner and you just draw it with a pencil and you cut that with a scissor. With scissors. So I have a hole punch, so I'm going to do it with this. And I'm going to try to do it the same on each corner. If you want to be sure that you have the same measurement on each corner, then what you could do is to take a ruler and then to measure the same distance from each corner. So for example, I would take 1 centimeter and I'll position this at approximately 45-degree angle and I'll mark where the 1 centimeter is. And I'll do that from each corner so that I know exactly where to set my punch. Just like that. And I'll just set the edge of the punch exactly where my dot is. And I'm also trying to align the circle so that there's an equal distance from the tip to both sides. Once we have all the corners punched, we also need to punch a half circle here in the middle of our 2 tickets. Again, you either use your glue stick to draw this half circle and cut it out, or you use a punch. Then I'm going to ink up all of my edges, front and back, with Vintage Photo, including this perforated line. So I am going to lightly bend it here and then go over that as well. So next I'm going to fussy cut this beautiful bumblebee. I've also inked her up with walnut stain. Since this is the queen bee, she needs to definitely look a little bit more special, because obviously they are special. If the bees die, we die. So we really need to take care of them. So I definitely want to make her wings look shiny, and there are several ways we can do that. The simplest way would probably be if you have some sort of a glossy medium like Mod Podge or something like that. You could apply that with a thin brush. Maybe you have something like Crackle Accents, you could use that, or Glossy Accents would work as well. Maybe you have a glass varnish. Just some kind of clear glossy varnish would work, but I'm going to do this with clear embossing powder and my pen. I don't think I've ever used my embossing powder and my pen as much as I am these days, but it always gives such a nice accent. I'm really loving it. And I have neglected my embossing powder for very long, so this makes me really happy that I'm actually using it now. So I'm just going to go over the wings, not the leg, just the wings. I think I can do better, so I'm going to go over it one more time. Now I'm happy with it. It has a really nice shine. And I also want to do the same thing with the black parts of her body using my black sparkle embossing powder. An alternative, if you want her to look more special, would be to paint over it with maybe with metallic paint or metallic watercolors, metallic markers. Now that's a queen bee, right? So before we add her to one of the tickets, I want to make these ticket backgrounds look a bit more interesting. We have these distress stains left from yesterday, so I want to use some of those. I also have this forest moss. So I first want to make the background wet so that stain will spread. Then you could do this with a paintbrush, but I want to try this here. It's like a plastic pipette. You can find something like this on Amazon or probably in your craft store as well. So I'm going to suck up some of the color here. Maybe I should stir it first because it has separated. So I'll suck some of this up and then we'll add it to our tickets. Oh, it looks so cool. Let's add a little bit more water. Let's move it a little bit. Let's try not to mess up our back sides too much. Wow, this is already looking so cool. Then I'm going to dry this with my heat gun. Actually, that's not a good idea. I just started drying it and I'm like, no, I'm not done. I can't dry it yet because I do want the surface to remain wet because I want to add more color. But it would be two different effects. If I dry it first and then add water, I think I will have a different effect if I don't even dry it first. So I have it like half dried here now. So what color was this? I don't even know anymore. Let's just try adding it. Oh, that looks like the forest moss. And let's go right ahead and try this one. Oh, that's a nice dark one. I know the colors are mixing because I still have some left in this, but I don't care. Oh. Oh, this is so much fun. So let's add a bit more water. These, of course, are not all distress stains, yeah? These were icing sprays as well. Really looks super messy right now. So I'll take a towel and take some of this craziness off. Yes. I don't want those stripes. Let me dry these. So this is what they look like when they're dry. Pretty funky backgrounds, huh? So let's see which one would be best for our queen bee to stand out. This one probably not because it's quite dark. This one I think would work really well. Let's also try these two. This one I guess would work, and this one would work. I think I like her best on this one. And since she's a queen, obviously she needs a crown. I thought I had a crown stamp, but I could not find it now. It could be that I have decluttered it. Oh my goodness, what? Don't ask me what I was thinking. Obviously I wasn't thinking. So instead we're just going to have to use some gold foil again. So I need to make a small crown. I don't think I'm going to actually place it on her head because that is too small. But I want to place it above her head just to kind of symbolize that she is a queen. Definitely the smallest crown I've made so far. Is it too big? Yeah, I think it's too big. I think that size is okay. And then I want to add a sentiment down here. So I'm going to use my vintage typewriter. Oh no! I spelled it wrong. Queen has a U. Let's do it again. That looks like crap. One more time. Yep, this one works. Always be your own queen bee. So I'll tear around this with my tearing ruler. And then we can add that down here. I've inked it up with walnut stain as well, but I also want to add some numbers to the backgrounds. So let's take this off again and look for a stamp that we could use. So this is my stamp album for clear stamps. I have not only a video of how I organized my stamps, but also a separate video of how I made this cover. You can find both of those videos linked below. And I think the stamp I want to use is this one here on my first page, which is from the Tim Holtz Special Delivery stamp set. So this is what it looks like. I think that will make a fabulous background. And I also remember that I had another stamp of a bee here, a big one. That might be fun for one of the other tickets. Yep, this one. It's a huge one. I believe this came from the little stamp store. I will link that store for you as well. It is a subscription box for receiving stamps, and I received a lot of cute stamps from them. For example, also these here, the houses, these here, they're all from the little stamp store. You never know which ones you're going to get, but all the ones that I had received were super cute. And I want to stamp the numbers with Rusty Hinge because I don't want them to be super dark. And I think the Rusty Hinge color goes really well with what I have here. Oh yeah, that looks amazing. I think it would be really cool to have a stamp platform to do something like this. I talked to Louise last night and I think we both agreed that I need a stamp platform. So that's on my list to get at some point. Very, very happy with these backgrounds. Yeah, so I'm happy with this ticket now. So I will glue these elements down and then I still need to do these 3. And I want my queen to be dimensional, so I added these foam stickers on the back. On this bottom one here, I want to add this big bee, but actually I should maybe check. Because I only want her partially, so maybe like that, 3/4. And I'm also going to emboss it with my black sparkly embossing powder. So I'll go over her with my clear embossing stamp pad first. And then let's stamp her. So that's what it looks like once it's embossed. And why not add a little bit of gold to her wings? Again, if you don't have gold embossing powder or a pen, just color it in with gold paint. Oops, I forgot a spot right here. Let me just do that. I also have this cute stamp set with bees from one of the Your Creative Studio subscription boxes. And I already have some of those stamped and ready to go, so I want to use some of those. Always happy when I find possibilities to use something I've pre-made. So for example, I have these ready to go, stamped on coffee dyed paper and colored, I think, with water-soluble colored pencils. So for this one, we could do something very simple. Just put this here and add one of the bees. Since our background is fabulous, we don't even need to do that much on top of it and it'll look great anyway. So I'm just going to glue that down. And when I glue her down, I don't want to put her in the middle. First of all, because middle is usually boring, but also because she's more or less in the middle. So I want to move her down a little bit. And then I think it looks better when they're next to each other. They probably won't be next to each other, at least not in that journal pocket, but you know what I mean. And then I also have these 3 smaller ones that are ready to go. How about I just put these maybe on this side, like that. And to add another interesting element, I will take it to my sewing machine and sew right down the middle without even gluing them on. To make my own life easier, I will just add a tiny bit of glue so that they stay in place while I'm sewing. And finally, they get a touch of splatters for some more contrast. Just a little bit. So here they are, all dried and finished. I am very happy with these. Let's put them in here. There we go. Prompt 5, number or sentiment. We have both. And ticket, check. We are on a roll. I really hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. See you back here tomorrow. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.